ফোন ইউটিউবটা অন করে দাও। YC sir, with your kind permission, should I start? Lokhi Babu, should I start? Hello, YC sir, with your kind permission, should I start? দীপঙ্কর দা, আমরা কি স্টার্ট করব?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
ওকে,
স্টার্ট।
hello, respected teachers, Mr. Lokinaran Maiji, presently acting as our officer in charge, IQAC coordinator Dr. Dipankar Sadhu.
হ্যাঁ, আপনি শুরু করুন।
Okay sir. All other dignitaries, participants,
Hello.
good afternoon everybody.
হ্যাঁ, শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
Yes, sir. We already started, sir. On behalf of Department of Anthropology, Haldia Government College, I, Dr. Bhuvan Mohan Das, welcome you all to the fourth lecture in the state level lecture series in anthropology. It is being organized by the department in association with the IQAC of the college, especially for the students of the anthropology. The aim of this lecture series is already stated that we want to provide a platform to the undergraduate and postgraduate student of the discipline so that they may get an essence of good quality learning through virtual DAS during this new normal pandemic situation. We, the faculty member of this organizing committee, are feeling really happy to be host of this lecture series because today we have with us in this virtual platform the eminent speaker, writer, Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay, Associate Professor, Department of Anthropology, Vidyasagar University. Sir is also the Director, Center for Adivasi Studies and Museum, Vidyasagar University. Today, Dr. Bandyopadhyay will deliver a lecture on the topic like business anthropology. The topic relatively new for the fraternity of anthropology. That is why we the exploration is needed in search of a new horizon. We hope today's discussion should have a beneficial impact for the students as well as the faculty members of the discipline. I also to share with you the fact that today we are hosting around 250 participants, not only from West Bengal but also from other states of India, and more than 90% of our participants are students from different colleges and universities of West Bengal, and about 5% of the total participants are from different states of India. I feel this huge response definitely motivates us to host more initiative of this kind of invited lecture in near future. Well, I know that the listeners are waiting rejoicingly to hear our today's invited speaker, Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay. But before moving to the academic discussion, I would like to invite Mr. Lokinaran Maiji, today's officer in charge of our college, to address the lecture series. Sir, please take over this task. Sir.
নেটওয়ার্ক দিকে।
Okay. Poor connectivity of mighty share. Poor connectivity. Okay. The buffering is going on. Okay. So please wait.
YC sir?
I think, Mr. Das, I think we should alternate our lecture.
Okay,
Should I?
okay. Now I would like to invite you, sir, Dr. Dipankar Sadhuka, the IQC coordinator of our college, to address this welcome to the audience.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. As IPL coordinator, Haldia Government College, I highly welcome today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay, Associate Professor from Department of Anthropology, Dasago University, and he is also Director of Center for Adivasi Studies and Museum, Dasago University. Today, Dr. Bandyopadhyay will discuss on the topic Business Anthropology Exploration in a New Horizon. And I think this topic will definitely helpful for the anthropology students. Once again, I thank all the faculty members of Anthropology Department from Haldia Government College for organizing this lecture series, especially for the students of our college as well as from different institutions of anthropology. So, also I like to thank our respected Professor in charge, Dr. Ibm Logo, for his continuous support, though he is not present live today for his personal health issue. I also thank our presently acting officer in charge, Dr. Lokinaran Maiti, our librarian sir. Thank you, sir, for presenting today. Finally, I also welcome today's audience for their active participation and wishing a grand success of this lecture series. With this, I am completing my part. Thank you all. Over to who?
Thank you, Dipankar, for your motivation and support that we always receive from you. Thank you again. Now, I would once again like to invite our YC, Mr. Lokinan Manji. Sir, are you listening?
Yes. Okay. Look.
Yes, I am. I can listen to you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Sir. Okay, sir. Now I invite you to address the audience. Sir, please.
Oh, yes. Should I start? Should I?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Am I audible now? Oh,
absolutely
okay.
Fine, sir.
So the connection is disturbing at times. So let me speak a few words in brief. Namaskar, respected speaker, Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay, sir, Associate Professor, Department of Anthropology, Vidyasagar University, and the Director of Center of Adivasi Studies and Museum, Vidyasagar University, and distinguished participants, dear students, my dear departmental colleagues, and all other connected fellows. Good afternoon to everybody. It's not a matter of proud privilege for me to be here to deliver this welcome address. Our Honorable Officer in charge, Dr. Piyush Kanti Tripathi, is now not in a position to be present here for some health reasons. So we all are concerned for that and pray for his complete well-being and early return to office. Till then, on behalf of him, please let me extend my heartiest and warm welcome to you all in this state-level lecture series in anthropology organized by the Department of Anthropology of our college. The Anthropology Department has been organizing a series of this sort of important lectures during this unnatural pandemic period, and this lecture is fourth one in the series. Topic of this lecture is Business Anthropology Exploration in New Horizon. Stalwarts in physics and other sciences say that our universe is expanding continuously. So in the case of highly metabolic areas of knowledge, including anthropology, In that sense, the horizon is also ever expanding, giving rise to new definitions of horizon continuously. Our unending quest for releasing the nature and state of that new horizons is the key to progress of human civilization. Our Department of Anthropology is thankful and deserve admiration that they have vowed to gauge the paraphernalia of new frontiers of a comparatively new area of anthropology, the business anthropology. I think the lecture is going to be very attractive and enjoyable. In this context, I may remember a famous quote of Marcel Proust, which says, "The real voyage of discovery is not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes." I am very much aspirant that today's lecture will yield a new vision to our eyes, which will help us to find the right ways in the new horizons. Hence, we all are eagerly waiting to listen to our honorable speaker, Dr. Subhahan Bandyopadhyay, to enrich ourselves. I again welcome all to this valuable lecture and wish the deliberations a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your motivation and support. Sir, please stay with us. Now, uh, according to the time schedule of today's program, it is my duty to welcome Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay, sir, our teacher at Narsingh Datta College, Howrah, and hand over this virtual dash for his deliberation on business anthropology. The name Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay is very popular to the anthropology fraternity. However, before handing over the mic, I am fortunate enough to give a brief introduction of our sir, especially for the new students, participants, and the listeners from other disciplines. Dr. Bandyopadhyay, at present working as Associate Professor in the Department of Anthropology, Vidyasagar University, where he joined as Assistant Professor in the year 2015. Sir is also serving as the Director, Center for Adivasi Studies and Museum, Vidyasagar University. Although Sir started his full-time teaching career at Narsingh Datta College, Howrah in the year 2003, Dr. Bandyopadhyay as a student was brilliant and received gold medal being first class first in MSc in anthropology from the University of Calcutta in the year 1998. Sir completed his doctoral degree from the Vishwabharati University in the year 2007. He is also the recipient of Junior Research Fellowship Award from the Anthropological Survey of India under Government of India in 2001 and Ekalobya Samman from SKG Ponam Parashram, Kolkata in the year 2018. Beside his academic excellence, Sir was an administrator during the year 2004 and 5 and worked as Deputy Magistrate and Deputy Collector under the Government of West Bengal. During his more than 17 years of teaching and research career, Sir published 3 sole author books, 1 edited book, 2 books with co-authorship, and more than 30 research articles in various journals of national and international repute. Sir is the sole writer of the popular book Samajik Sanskritik Nibigyan, published by Parul Prokashani, Kolkata. Sir already completed 2 research projects funded by University Grants Commission and Government of West Bengal. Dr. Bandyopadhyay's vast areas of teaching and research interest are ethnography, theory and practice, tribal development, theoretical anthropology, anthropology of religion, anthropology of performance, literary anthropology, anthropology of e-governance and information and communication technology, with special reference to digital world, folklore, and so on. Under his research guidance, currently 3 registered research scholars are on queue for the completion of their doctoral dissertation. Currently, Sir is acting as Associate Managing Editor, Journal of the Indian Anthropological Society, and Managing Editor of the Journal of Anthropology since 2013. Sir is also the Editor-in-Chief, one of the oldest journal in anthropology, namely Man in India. Few other notable activities of Dr. Bandyopadhyay include he was selected as Joint Secretary of the Indian Anthropological Congress in 2017, funded by Vidyasagar University, Indian National Confederation of Academy of Anthropologists, ICSSR, ICMR, IGRMS, and so on. And Dr. Bandyopadhyay also selected as coordinator of the certificate course on data collection and analysis funded by Guru Sadoy Museum, Ministry of Textile and Government of India in the year 2015. He is also the coordinator of Tribal Festival 14 Eastern Zonal Cultural Center funded by Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Dr. Bandyopadhyay acted as former guest faculty under different universities, namely University of Calcutta, West Bengal State University, Rabindra Bharati University, and so on. Sir delivered more than 20 invited lectures in different academic institutions all over the state. He is the active live member of different learned societies, namely the Indian Anthropological Society, Indian National Confederation of Academy of Anthropologists, Indian Anthropological Association, New Delhi, Bangio Sahitya Parishad, Kolkata, Folklore Congress Association of India, Kolkata, Ethnographic and Folk Culture Society, Lucknow, and the Asiatic Society, and so on. So, I don't want to make your waiting time prolong. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Sumohan Bandyopadhyay to take this virtual dash. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Bhuvan. You said so many things. Actually, it all happened. My
Actually, you
contribution, I
have
think,
done
is
this all.
very little, but I think it happened. Shubho Apuranno, very good afternoon to you all. And also, I am thankful to the organizers, and I am very happy that today I am with my beloved students, both students and students, because many of the faculty members of Haldia Government College are my former students. And today I find another interesting thing that there is a Mohono Murati in the virtual dais, a Tribeni Sangam of Mohon. One is the head of the department, Bhuvan Mohan Das, another is Mohan Chandra Doloi, and myself is often misspelled as Shu Mohan instead of Shu Mohan. And in fact, it is not done by the common people. Also, government of West Bengal once, while felicitating me in an occasion, they also wrote that I am Shu Mohan. So I may say that there is a Triveni Sangam of Mohan today. So I think the entire program, the entire discourse is is going to take a very nice, that we say it's Mohan kind of thing, except my part of it. But I shall try, and I shall target basically to the undergraduate students, because I know very well that the faculties here are very efficient, very knowledgeable. I know them very well from their student life. They're brilliant students, and as faculty, they are also excellent. So my basic intention is to communicate something on this particular topic, business anthropology. And you must have noticed while uh, uh, um, Bhuvan was giving an introduction of my areas of interest, we have always seen that I have a number of cross-cutting interests, and always attempted to chart new areas, to explore new areas, even though always I am not competent to do so. But I have tried. And one such thing, when he proposed me, and I find in my moderation work or a confidential examination related work, that this particular topic, business anthropology, is rather less attended and we have a dearth of material on it. So by my little effort, if I can give an outline of the entire thing, it may be of some help to the students. Therefore my basic intention is to deliver this lecture to give an outline of the business anthropology. Now it is a very, and I shall also, as advised earlier, that I shall mix up English with Bengali for the convenience for me as well as if I don't think it is always applicable, but to certain extent also for the students. Now the point is that it is often said that the anthropology is shrinking, that its area is getting getting shortened due to uh, various incursions, and compared to other disciplines which started simultaneously or later, anthropology is in a great crisis. But is it so? This question uh, often haunts me, that is anthropology shrinking or not? And there was a debate that is anthropology in India is dying or dead or something like that. And a few months back, I have also witnessed a lecture, uh, and that was also on the crisis of Indian anthropology. Now the point is that whether it is so, or it is something like uh, সুধীন্দ্রনাথ দত্তর উট পাখি, এক অন্ধ হলে কি প্রলয় বন্ধ থাকে, if you close your eyes does the world stop its movement, or it is something else. But what Sudhindranath Dত্ত captured in this poem is to a certain extent applicable to the anthropology as well, I think. And not only this particular line, শুধুমাত্র এই পংক্তিটুকু নয়, যদি ওই পুরো চরণটাই দেখি, the entire stanza, if we go through, we find that some real reflection of reality may be discerned in that particular stanza, that states that, and let me quote that stanza. It's very popular stanza, and popular চরণ বলা যেতে পারে কবিতার, সুধীন্দ্রনাথ দত্তের উট পাখি। সেখানে শেষ পংক্তিতে, শেষ চরণে, the last stanza that Sudhindranath Datta was telling is also applicable to the anthropology to a certain extent in the present context, and we shall later elaborate why I quote this. What Sudhindranath Datta wrote: আমি জানি এই ধ্বংসের দায় ভাগে আমরা দুজনে সমান অংশীদার। You student, we teachers, the anthropologists and the non-anthropologists as well. অপরে পাওনা আদায় করেছে আগে, আমাদের পরে দেনা শোধবার ভার। তাই অসহ্য লাগে এ আত্মরতি, অন্ধ হলে কি প্রলয় বন্ধ থাকে। We are feeling self-complacent. No, what we have enough. We anthropologists, we do participant observation, we do ethnography, we have a unique methodology with us. We became very complacent, very satisfied. But this is unbearable. তাই অসহ্য লাগে ও আত্মরতি, অন্ধ হলে কি প্রলয় বন্ধ থাকে। আমাকে এড়িয়ে বাড়াও নিজেরই ক্ষতি, ভ্রান্তি বিলাস সাজে না দুর্বিপাকে। অতএব এসো আমরা সন্ধি করি, প্রত্যুপকারে বিরোধী স্বার্থ সাধি, তুমি নিয়ে চলো আমাকে লোকোত্তরে, তোমাকে বন্ধু আমি লোকায়তে বাঁধি। Nicely captured the mood that তুমি আমাকে লোকোত্তরে নিয়ে যাও, you take me beyond this boundary to the transcendental realm. At the same time, let me take you to the very mundane existence, to the vibrating reality, to the life around us. And that is anthropology, which help us to make sense of the world. This poem was written in this month of October 22nd, 1934. But after so many years, how relevant the utterings are. Now the question is how it happened, why this complacency and why this crisis, and whether it is the all, it is the end, or it is something to repent. But it is sure that there are some problems, but the question is how it happened, or we may put it on the other way, whether it has happened or not. To my mind, it is not the reality always, because anthropology have, has always invented, reinvented itself. And one such reinvention of the discipline can be seen in its development of a field of study, that is business anthropology. And all the scholars, more or less, who are writing in this domain, they try to point out its newness. And one of the very renowned scholar of the discipline, when interviewed, she told the interviewee, when asked, what did you feel when you came to work in the corporate house? And she answered, it was like a foreign country. Everything was alien to me. So this newness, and this is very much uh, reminding us what Malinowski felt when he stationed first in the Trobriand Island. And you may refer to those opening lines of his famous celebrated book, The Argonauts of the Western Pacific. So this exotic, this newness, we are still enamored with this newness. And we, when talk about it, as Bell answered, similarly in another paper in 2017, written by an Indian scholar, Ramesh Singh, he was also calling it a new area. That is why this comparatively newness of the domain provoked me to title my lecture as Exploration in the New Field. This is basically a kind of recapitulation of what has been already written on this domain. But let me start with some narratives, some stories, those stories, but these are bare facts, uh, to begin with how anthropologists engaged with business. The first story is of Genevieve Bell. Genevieve Bell was an Australian anthropologist who now holds the Florence Violet Mackenzie Chair of the Australian National University. And she is also the first Stanford Research Institute International Engelbart Distinguished Fellow. Actually, this chair names it gives us impression that yes, this is something worthy. Actually, this Mackenzie chair, Mackenzie Violet Mackenzie was the first woman electrical engineer in Australia, and she did a lot in expansion of women's technical education. So, for after her name, this chair was named, and Stanford Research Institute has a very significant global presence in technology and society research. And Engelbart is one of the pioneering computer scientists who developed many new things, new inventions, which were first in the history of computing. So, after these two very renowned persons, two distinguished chairs are occupied by uh, Genevieve, Genevieve Bell. But this is not all. Bell was also named in the Hall of Fame. She is an exhibit in London Design Museum, and also she is now the member, a very important member of a high level policy committee in Australia, uh, founded by the Australian government, chaired by the Prime Minister of Australia, and also the committee has members like some Nobel laureate, along with Professor Bell. I am just telling the story, these facts, just to show the importance Professor Bell occupies in the policy, in the technology, society, research, and in the global academic and policy scenario. But why Professor Bell? She started her career of teaching in Stanford University. After 2 years of teaching, she was hired by Intel Corporation. And I think you all know what is Intel. Our computers are blind if we do not have Intel Pentium chip inside. They are the largest manufacturer of computer semiconductors. So this company hired Genevieve Bell to work in the social science research wing. They were uh, they set up in 1998. Soon after joining that particular wing, she uh, brought some new ideas, some anthropological understanding in the research of uh, the, 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 the how these services and and softwares can be developed in a user friendly way. And she became the director of interaction and experience research group at Intel. Intel honored her with the fellow, with the rank of fellow, that is the highest technical rank in Intel Incorporated. So you can easily understand how important his research work as an anthropologist in a corporate setup. And on the basis of her research, the user experience was taken as an yardstick of product by Intel. Besides Bell, Professor Bell, who had such an important role in the corporate sector, we come across a number of anthropologists who were hired by the international multinational companies. You have Dr. Andrew Manning, working as cultural anthropologist in Procter and Gamble. He is a PhD from University of Texas. You have Melissa Sefkin, who works in IBM, and she wrote a very interesting book, Ethnography of and Corporate Encounter, Reflections on Research in and of Corporations, 2010. And besides them, there are so many. I shall give some other examples, appropriate portion of this lecture. But you can now easily understand that these companies, IBM, Intel, Procter and Gamble, Revlon, all these multinationals have hired anthropologists because they understood that anthropological knowledge has some worth in expanding their business. Therefore, the story is not that gloomy. The story is not that dark or doom, and we must be hopeful of this exploration in the new horizon. And not only in abroad, in foreign countries. In India, we find Tulsi Menon, who was hired by an advertising agency named the You may not identify but many of you use Fog, that particular body spray, and it has a catchline advertisement, Fog chal raha hai. So these company, these ad agency, the Uri, they gave these particular ad words, or invented that ad words. And this Tulsi Menon was one of the masterminds of this company, and she also excelled in her trade as well. She was awarded along with her company as with a Southeast Asian brand award for her contribution, and she was also hailed as a rising star as well. So from these stories of West and of India, we can again understand how anthropology is getting a good place in business world, and we must hear what Tulsi Menon says when she talks about this importance of anthropology in business. What she said, according to her, anthropology has threefold importance in business. How? Because it helps to become a market researcher, a trusted insider. Secondly, the understanding of individuals' subconscious motivation can be known by applying anthropological methods in business. And third one is that anthropologists have a very different starting point. They try to see the conflicts and their deeper meanings. Thus, the role of anthropology can be meaningfully situated while expanding the business and also working in the corporate world, be it big or it's small, but always it is something that it relates to the society and people. And this company, this the OM, which for the first time in the country employed an anthropologist as its staff, uh, used a catch line to promote its business, that it is a people's business. While mentioning this people business, uh, it reminds me that of a very interesting quote by Henry Ford. Henry Ford, you know very well the Ford cars, and a very renowned, very successful businessman. This Henry Ford wrote an autobiography, and in that autobiography, Henry Ford wrote that uh, it is what let me quote, because I have written it somewhere, uh, that what Henry Ford talks about his idea of business. He wrote, "It is the degree of the comfort of the people at large," while talking about his aim of doing business, not the size of the manufacturer's bank balance। অর্থাৎ ফোর্ড লিখছেন যে আসলে মানুষের স্বাচ্ছন্দ্য কতটা আমার ব্যবসা বাড়াতে পারছে সেটাই আসল, আমার আর্থিক সমৃদ্ধি কতটা হলো, আমার ব্যাংকে কত তহবিল বাড়লো, তার চেয়েও গুরুত্বপূর্ণ মানুষের স্বাচ্ছন্দ্য কতটা বাড়লো। And that is the evidence of prosperity. The function of the manufacturer is to contribute to this comfort. He is an instrument of society. Please mark this. He is an instrument of the society, and he can serve society only as he manages his enterprises so as to turn over to the public an increasingly better product at an ever decreasing price, and at the same time to pay to all those who have a hand in his business an ever increasing wage based upon the work they do. In this way, and in this way alone, can a manufacturer or anyone in the business justify his existence. So, the real prosperity of a business, real sense of a business, is the expansion of people's comfort, is the feeling of the employees that they are well paid, they are well kept. Therefore, this is basically a an affair of the society. It is an instrument of the society. So this social embeddedness of business is really a remarkable understanding that the successful businessman like Ford understood. Ford considered businessman as an instrument of the society who contributes to the enlargement of the comfort of the people in the society. Thus, his success is judged and existence justified. It is not only Henry Ford. If you go through the books which deal with human elements in business, all these emphasize the socially embedded character of business. In fact, what we call business is nothing but an aspect of culture included in the broader domain of economic activities. Therefore, speaking anthropologically, economy is a cultural universal, not the business, since there are many communities in the world that have no business enterprise in the formal sense of the term. Now, the anthropological understanding, anthropological theories are coming up. We talk about cultural universals, and we find that there are many cultural universals. We cite example of economy as one of the important cultural universals. Economy is, of course, a cultural universals, but not business. in the formal sense of the term, because you do not find business in many cultures, among the Jarwas, among the Chenchus, among the Virho. If you go and talk about whether they traditionally have some business enterprise, you may be disheartened by not having any such instances. But business is everywhere. If you are not a traditionally business society, still you cannot escape the business. The world pervaded with business. It is pervasive and permeating. Now the question is, what is business? It's a very tricky question, because most of the, even our dictionary on business has many entries except the entry business. But for our understanding, we may say that the business comprises all profit-seeking activities and enterprises that provide goods and services necessary to an economic system. It is the economic pulse of a nation striving to increase society's standard of living. সুতরাং ব্যবসা হচ্ছে সেই সমস্ত কার্যক্রম, ক্রিয়াকলাপ যার দ্বারা আমরা আমাদের প্রয়োজনীয় সামগ্রী এবং পরিষেবা পেয়ে থাকি, এবং যার একটা অর্থকরী লাভজনক ব্যাপার আছে। যদিও বিজনেস অ্যানথ্রোপোলজির যারা ডেফিনেশন দিচ্ছেন, আপনারা দেখবো যে জর্ডানের থেকে শুরু করে অনেকেই বিজনেস অ্যানথ্রোপোলজির ডেফিনিশন দিয়েছেন, সেখানে তারা বলছেন যে প্রফিট মেকিং ব্যাপারটাও যেমন থাকবে, তেমনি business anthropologists may work in a non-profit organization as well. But business as such is a profit-making venture. There is no doubt in it. Now, if this is business, then what is business anthropology? Let me quote from Anti Jordan, 2015, page 3. Jordan writes that this is a very standard book. I would suggest you to go through this book, Business Anthropology. This is a basic book, I find. According to Jordan, business anthropology is defined in the following way. The subject of a business anthropologist's work is the behavior in and around any organization, or the behavior of the consumers of products and services provided by an organization. So, business anthropology studies behavior in and around organization, as well as the behavior of the consumer, products and services provided by the organization. So this is in a nutshell the definition of business anthropology. Jordan states that the organization for which the business anthropologist's work may be profit making or not non-profit making. I made it clear just a few minutes before that it may work for profit making and non-profit making. Some NGO or in some government, the business anthropologist may work, or they may be large or small enterprise. That means small scale industries can be a subject of study for the business anthropologists. And he divided the main focuses of inquiry of the business anthropology in as that business anthropology has 6 main focuses. Which are these focuses? Number 1, work process. Number 2, group behavior. Number 3, organizational change. Number 4, diversity, that means cultural diversity. And number 5, globalization. Sorry, 5 main thrust areas. It is also said that, but later we see that she has also expanded her ideas on business anthropology. And in another definition of business anthropology, the domain is again well emphasized, that Tien and others in 2018 define business anthropology in following words. How they define it? That business anthropology refers to the implementation of ideas and techniques from the field of applied anthropology to accomplish objectives primarily for business, run for profit, and to attain competitive advantage. So it refers to the implementation of ideas and techniques from the field of applied anthropology to accomplish objectives primarily for business, run for profit, and attain competitive advantage. Therefore, basically, it is the kind of application of anthropological knowledge to help business to grow, to expand, to make more profits, and also to have some competitive advantage in the corporate sector. Now, following these discussions by these scholars and many others, the, the basic domain of business anthropology can be summarized as follows. Number one, business anthropology is organizational anthropology. Business anthropology is organizational anthropology. That is the study of complex organizations to include their culture, their work processes, and change directives. তাহলে তাহলে প্রথমত এটা হচ্ছে যে সংগঠনটাকে দেখা, বিজনেস সংস্থাটাকে দেখা। আসলে এটা আমাদের কিন্তু আমরা খুব মেটেরিয়ালিটি দিয়ে এবং অর্থাৎ আমরা বস্তুগত যে আমাদের অভিজ্ঞতা সেটা দিয়েও বোঝার চেষ্টা করি, আবার আমাদের যেগুলো সামাজিক অনুভূতি এবং সাংস্কৃতিক যেগুলো বিশ্বাস বোধ এর মধ্য দিয়ে আমরা বোঝার চেষ্টা করি। যেমন ধরুন কোনো একটা ব্যবসায়িক প্রতিষ্ঠান, একটা বড় কারখানায় ঢুকলে সেখানে আমাদের চোখে পড়ে যে গেটের পাশে হয়তো একটা মন্দির আছে, কিংবা অনেকখানি ফাঁকা জায়গা, একটা বাগান, একটা ফুলের সমারোহ, আবার একটা খেলার জায়গা, কিংবা একটা জিম। অর্থাৎ এই যে একটা ফ্যাক্টরির ভেতরে অনেকখানি ফাঁকা জায়গা এবং তার মধ্যে অনেক কিছু, এই যে এক ধরনের বস্তুগত সাজসজ্জা, যাকে আমরা এক ধরনের ইনস্টলেশন বলতে পারি, সেটা কিন্তু খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ একটা ব্যাপার। অর্থাৎ এইগুলোর পাশাপাশি আমরা দেখার চেষ্টা করি তার কাঠামোটা কেমন, একটা সংস্থায় প্রধানকে, তার নিচে কারা রয়েছেন, তার কারা ম্যানেজার, সেই ম্যানেজারের অধীনে কারা কাজ করছেন, শ্রমিকরা কিভাবে রয়েছেন, কোন সময়ে কাজ করছেন, এই যে সামগ্রিকভাবে যে একটা কাঠামো, সংস্থার কাঠামো, গঠন কাঠামো, সেটা বোঝার চেষ্টা করি। কিন্তু এখানে নৃবিজ্ঞানীদের আরেকটা যেটা বোঝার জায়গা, সেটা শুধুমাত্র যাকে বলা হয় প্রথাগত কাঠামো তা নয়, not only the formal structure of the organization, but the informal groupings, the interactions, how one is interacting with other, how the crises are being developed, how these are dissolved in formal and informal ways, how the emotions are playing important roles. So these things are very important, and in organization, study of organization, we often do so. কিছু কিছু সংস্থার সঙ্গে আমাদের একটা আত্মিক যোগসূত্র রয়ে যায়। আমাদের একটা আত্মিক যোগসূত্র রয়েছে, যেটা কিন্তু খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। এই যেমন ধরুন বোরোলিন। বোরোলিন এর কোম্পানির নাম আমরা অনেকেই জানি না, কিন্তু তার সঙ্গে আমাদের একটা আবেগের সম্পর্ক। সুরভিত অ্যান্টিসেপটিক ক্রিম, যে একটাই শব্দ ব্যবহার করছে। আমি অ্যাডভার্টাইজিং নিয়ে যখন বলবো, ডিজাইন অ্যানথ্রোপোলজি নিয়ে যখন বলবো, এরকম দু একটা উদাহরণ দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করব। কিন্তু বাংলার সঙ্গে, বাঙালির সঙ্গে যেন এরকম কিছু কিছু সংস্থা আছে যারা মনে করে, যেমন টাটা কোম্পানি, সে মনে করে যে তার কর্মীদের সঙ্গে তার সম্পর্ক একটা পারিবারিক, টাটা পরিবার। এবং আমরা বহু সময় সাহারার ক্ষেত্রেও দেখেছি, তারা বলে সাহারা পরিবার। অর্থাৎ এই যে দেখুন, একটা ফ্যামিলি মেটাফোর, সেটা একটা organization ব্যবহার হচ্ছে, that it is being used in our organization, that has many anthropological connotations to explore. So this is one area, that is organizational anthropology. There is also anthropology, second domain, second field of business anthropology that is identified, is the anthropology of marketing and consumer behavior. This is very interesting. The how do you market and do the consumer study? Once I can cite one example of a study by Sushan Squares, and that was on breakfast. A company employed Sushan with a that they and informed that they want to develop some breakfast items, and you please go and do the market research and suggest us how we can do that. Social Squares studied the families and children particularly, and their breakfast behavior, and they uh, and her study revealed that there are many other issues apart from the simple nutrition is related to the breakfast practice. The children of the working parents are kept in daycare center, and in the morning, that day breaks at 6:30 to 7. The children are not that hungry. When Sushant studied, are not that hungry. So if heavy breakfast items that was initially launched uh, was not successful, because at that early hours they cannot take much food. But when they become hungry, it is but then by 10 a.m., when it is almost lunch time, because we know the food intake behavior varies from culture to culture. When we take our lunch, when we take our tiffin or breakfast or the dinner, it varies from culture to culture. And Sushan found that therefore you cannot make such kind of heavy breakfast item if you want to success. And her market research and the consumer behavior with regard to breakfast prompted the company to launch a tube yogurt as a breakfast item. So this type of study, we can make many such examples of such study, and you may be astonished to know that in the all the Xerox machines, you will always find a green button that will do the Xerox work. And this Xerox Foundation was from the very beginning a great supporter of the ethnographic or anthropological enterprise in business studies. And this Xerox Foundation also employed anthropologists to inquire about how they can design their machine. And it was anthropologists as a very important input, so that regarding the use of button and how this can be made user friendly. So this way, this market research can be of much value if anthropological methods are applied. Now the design anthropology, that is very another interesting thing. May I request Bhuvan or Mohan, anybody, would you share one or two slides that I gave to you? Is it
Mohan,
possible?
please. Yes. Mohan, please take over. Mohan, are you listening? Hello, Mohan.
Okay, in absence of that, I may continue. Uh, I think you have.
Okay, we are trying to
Okay, no
show the.
problem, no problem. Let me continue. Uh, I think many of you, if you have any question, you may please put in the chat box. I time to time I shall check it and try to respond. I think you have seen the logo of Vodafone. It is just an inverted comma. Have you noticed why this type of a logo was was conceived? It has semiotics. In design anthropology, semiotics play a very important role. Levi-Straussian binary plays a significant role as a theoretical model. Many of the scholars, design anthropologists, have acknowledged their depth to these theories. You will see that it just indicates that you are beginning a talk. When you quote, you write some sentence, quote some sentence, some uh, somebody has said something and you have quoted it. You starts with that particular mark, but the symbol, the logo is just that mark, not the ending mark. So you can talk unlimited. You can have an unlimited talk with Vodafone. Interestingly, think about IBM and Apple logo. These are also design anthropologists have a important role in these in conceiving this logo. The IBM logo is very straight, blue and steel color. The speed, the smartness, everything was conceived to reflect through this logo. But when you think about Apple, the very indication was that it is different from IBM. It is not IBM, a completely different sort of logo. Not that geometric uh, stereotype, rather, it is a curve, a curvature, an up that is some portion of which is beaten and that had another indication for knowledge. The apple, and it reminds us the story of Adam and Eve, the first fruit of knowledge. So, when a logo is conceived, it relates to the particular cultural context, the narrative, the myth, everything. And when some universal message is to be communicated, the logo should have that reflection as well. In the advertising design for market promotion of films, you will find it very well. In the film poster of Pratidwandi, you will see that two words are just placed opposite to each other in two different colors. And in the title, you will never find these two words, Prati Dondi, were occurring simultaneously. As if the pratidvandi word pratidvandi was giving you the impression that somebody is in conflict, two persons are in conflict, there is a conflict between a person and his or her opponent. In Porosh Pathor, Satyajit Ray was a master of this kind of invention in design, and it had a great deal of cultural work, cultural material to think of. In Porosh Pathor, you will find similar, and at the same time in Kanchenjunga, the yellow Kanchon, white, the snow, and also the lettering of following a Tibetan script, everything will give you that message of the particular context in which the film is going to take you. Therefore, it is interesting that design advertising has many things to say culturally, and anthropologists try to understand that culture. I think there are some questions in the chat box. Mhm. Okay, nothing is there. Fine.
So some question is there, but after your deliberation, the question will be. Hello, sir, are you listening? Hello, I'm audible. Hello.
Hello.